I am doing this on Thursday instead of Wednesday this week because since last week was the kiddo's birthday and the kiddo's birthday party and Halloween, which I was sewing until pretty much last minute, and the kid got sick again. So in getting all of that worked out, I just making the video today. The last minute sewing I was doing was the skirt for my Spirit of Autumn costume, along with my that pumpkin print coat that I made. And the person across the road saw me and said, "Are you Miss Frizzle?" Because I was wearing a long, slightly curly red wigs. Like, I can see how you would think that, but no. I'm one of those abstract costumes. I'm not a character. No one could quite get that I was just a character. That I was not a character. That I was just an idea. Because all the randomness ideas. Anyway, okay. The last minute addition to my costume, you know, I'd wanted to make like a pumpkin head or have a pumpkin head somehow. But since it was very last minute, last thing I did was I taped this dowel rod. I actually usually keep with my supplies here, and I'll use it to either turn stuff right side out or I'll put it inside pant legs, doll pant legs, when I need to press this inseams. But I would sit kind of slumped over in the chair with this problem in my face. I almost wore gloves. If I wore gloves, it would have looked even less like an actual person, but I sat there like this. And when the little tiny kids came up on the porch, I just move it and be nice. The older kids would see me sitting next to the door, but since they couldn't see a face and they weren't like detailery enough to see my hands, they'd stand down there and freak each other out about whether or not I was going to jump out and scare them, which is kind of what I wanted. And then the kind of intermediate kids, a lot of them would walk up and walk past me and raise their hand to ring the doorbell. And I move this out of the way and say, "Happy Halloween!" And I startle some of them, but they of course insisted to their parents that they weren't scared. And there's like the even smaller kids had no idea there was anything to be scared of. And this, when I moved this, they didn't know, and they were just too. There's the plush cat and the plush snake and the fake spider and the strobe light and the orange and green swirly light just were all far more interesting than the person who was sitting still. The best was I'd be sitting like this, and I'd see the group of, when I say older kids, like maybe 10 or 11, maybe a little older, they'd come up the porch, and I'd move this and peek, and maybe one or two would see me, but some of them wouldn't. And like the ones who would see me would immediately understand that their friends hadn't seen me, and the looks on their face like, "Oh boy, my friend's gonna get scared," and it usually worked out that way. So Halloween, there weren't nearly as many kids in this neighborhood trick-or-treating as there usually are in years past, but my kiddo got invited to his friend's house in the next neighborhood over, which is a slightly swankier subdivision, and apparently that's where everybody went. Husband said that the streets are packed with people, you could barely... He wasn't even trying to find a parking place. He actually was going to the friend's house, but people were just trying to park along the road and in the public areas and in the parking lot at that subdivision. He said it was a mess. It was terrible. And they were all there, and there wasn't much here. We had a lot of candy left over. But we bought the kind of candy that the kiddo likes, so it's going well. And so last night, after I got everything put away and organized, and we determined that the kiddo, he'd gone to the doctor and determined that the medicine was working and he was feeling better and he'd be able to go back to school today. I relaxed and I realized I had about 2 hours until it was time to start getting him ready for bed. And I started sewing thank you clothes again. I didn't get very far in it, but I have started sewing thanks clothes again, so I am back on doll sewing. And then I went thrifting today. I also, of course, looked at all the Halloween clearance stuff. There's one thing that I almost bought. 50% off, of course, is great, but there were so many of them that they might be more around when they're more off, and I don't need it, so I didn't buy any Halloween stuff today. I did go to a thrift store today, and I could not resist. I know I should have, but I couldn't resist this bag of lace. I haven't even taken it out yet to see how much that is. This is, of course, classically 90s lace colors. sort of a dusty rose and ivory, which I will take these apart because, you know, I just don't like how thick these headers are. Also, it gives me the option to ruffle it myself or leave it straight myself. So this is this lace I will work on. It's a very 90s color, but it's a nice color. I'm sure we'll use it. And there appeared to be quite a bit of this in there. It was weird, they had some pieces of lace just completely on their own marked 7 yards, $3. Okay. And some were stuffed into a bag for more, and then this bag was only like $2, I think. Yeah, $2, and let's see, this is approaching 2 yards, I'd say. And then we have this, which is another one to take off the header and flatten out. And there's a bit of it here. Yeah, I know, we all know I don't need lace. Even before Susan was generous with the lace, thanks again, I still didn't need the lace. But I can't resist the lace, especially since so many of this was colorful lace. So let's say there's at least 5 yards of that. Then this one I thought was the second most interesting in here. Can I get it untangled from the interesting one? Alright, this one is very much flowers. Although if you sew up by the edge, they'll be going down, but I could sew it along the bottom of a skirt or something like a border. And there's a bit of this. And it's very soft, so it'll be great for doll clothes. But the thing that I really like, the lace that really caught my interest most in this package was this stuff, which is the front, which I think is the front. It's like nylon and obnoxiously bright. And this just really looks like stuff on doll clothes, I think from the early 70s. There's a few discolored areas, but so using it for dolls, that won't be a problem. There's not as much of this as there was of the other stuff, but there's still a decent amount, especially when it comes to making doll clothes. And I do, like I said, I am working again on thanks clothes, and I do intend to try to get some stuff up to sell or trade eventually. I just still need to get stuff organized. And there were no doll things to buy, and at the store I bought some things I'm going to try to resell. But the thing on the toy table that I could not resist, it's so weird. This dude or gal or whatever it is, I'm going to turn her so you can see the face. Beetle, ladybug? I don't know. It says made in Hong Kong on the bottom, and that's all. So this thing has seen a lot, and is not happy about it. I will definitely sometime get pictures just of this, because I think it needs a crown too, because this thing is in charge. The only other new thing is for the kiddo's birthday, he'd saved up a lot of money. Like, we'd sold a bunch of his old Hot Wheels wall track stuff, and he'd done some odds and ends for sale or for errands, and he saved up most of the money toward a new 2DS XL. So he got that, and we transferred everything from his old DS onto that new DS. So now the old DS is mine. So I don't have much on here, but I did want to show you my me and see what you think of it. I hope this shows up on the screen. You think I did? I really don't know what I look like. I look at myself in these videos all the time, but I just say, oh, that's just me. But I think I like the way she turned out. And that's really all I have to talk about. And you know, I was really grasping for things to talk about. So I will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll have more doll stuff.